About 3 years ago, I was standing in about this same spot, talking to a group of business leaders, labor leaders, elected officials, community stakeholders, and giving them an update on where we're at in the process of this project. And we hadn't even secured all the funding yet. We hadn't even gotten close to letting contracts. And one of the things I asked them to do was for them to close their eyes, to visualize, to think about what was here, what this was, and then to think about the future and to see in their mind's eye what this building could become. There is no more closing of the eyes anymore to visualize what this building will become and what it will mean to our community. This project has been taken 10 years in the making. It took the support and has a lot of people and organizations to make this happen. This has been a journey, and you'll hear about that journey throughout the morning here. First and foremost, I want to recognize my fellow commissioners on the board of Ramsey County Regional Rail Authority. Together, this board has had the vision, the resolve to save one of the great railroad stations of the 20th century and return it to its intended use as a transportation hub.
The Union Depot is open for business. And I am thrilled to be here when we see an end to construction and the beginning of a new era of transportation in Minnesota. When I think about trains, this is just my own personal thing. When I grew up, my mom didn't learn to drive till I was 16, don't ask. And so we would always take the train to Milwaukee to see her parents, my grandma and grandpa, and we would always take the Milwaukee Road. So I grew up, as I saw those conductors over there, it has really incredibly fond memories for me, because they would give me a little chart and I write down every single stop. And then as I grew up, I learned to love the trains because I realized it was the only way that my husband and I could take a vacation together without getting in a fight about directions. So these are just some of the great things about passenger rail in the country. I think you know that getting the Union Depot project funded, constructed, and underway was truly a team effort, led for so long by Congresswoman McCollum, by Congressman Oberstar, and then on the Senate side, then Senator Coleman and I secured the funding on that side to make sure it got done. But those two just never gave up in the House. It also took so many people on the local level, and I want to thank everyone who worked to move things forward. And as I look around the station today, I'm reminded of the importance of Union Depot in our state history. During its heyday, in the 1920s, nearly 300 trains and 20,000 people passed through every single day. Union Depot is historic, it's iconic, and it's widely regarded as one of the great American railroad stations of the 20th century. But that doesn't mean it also can't be modern, efficient, and one of the great railroad stations of the 21st century. That's why we're here today. This is now a station that is not only steeped in history, but it is also equipped with the technology of the future capable of supporting modern-day commerce and travel. So today truly marks a milestone in our work to improve transit options in the metro area and throughout Minnesota. It's a win for commuters and for travelers. It's a win for our local economy. It's a win for regional development. Our 21st century economy truly demands a 21st century transportation network.
And many told us it could not be done. But after more than a decade of work, we gather here to rededicate a Minnesota monument and a national treasure, rescued from history and reclaimed for the future. As we've said, many people deserve credit for this. Jim's going to go through all of them, but take a second and look at the poster. Each one of these organizations and many more individuals deserve thanks. These leaders remained patient, they remained committed through difficult moments. Step by step, year by year, the partnership grew, the progress continued. Business, labor, government at all levels, including our great partners at the state level, kept moving forward. Together, we created a new center of commerce that will create opportunity for generations and a public space we're so proud of. Today's celebration marks a long road of renovation. It's also the beginning of a new era of transportation, not just for St. Paul or the East Metro, but for the Twin Cities in the entire Midwest region. The East and West Metro will share this transportation hub as we share an airport, and it will put us on the map together. The federal government invested nearly $115 million in Union Depot because it is the new transportation center for the entire Midwest region. 300 Met buses start arriving today. In a few short months, Jefferson Bus Line and Amtrak begin service. And soon the Central Corridor to Minneapolis and the Gateway Corridor to Woodbury will be here. Express buses to the airport and so much more. I have no doubt that Senator Klobuchar and I will keep working in Congress to build high-speed rail to Chicago.
It seems to me it has proven easier to restore this station to its past glory than it has been to gild the future with high-speed rail service that would be worthy of this restored station. High-speed, train à grande vitesse. That's what I had in mind when, in 2005, I created the projects of national and regional significance in the transportation bill, and had a section in there to use those funds from the Highway Trust Fund for restoration of intermodal facilities at train stations, union depots. There are union depots all over America where the several railroads unified into one place, and allocated that first $50 million for any project in America for this facility. We need passenger rail of the future to exceed the passenger rail of the past. We need high-speed rail of the future to be worthy of the dignity and the grandeur of this station. And to paraphrase Winston Churchill, we must see today's ceremony as the end of the beginning, and we must lift our eyes and our spirits and our relentless efforts to embrace and achieve the vision of high-speed rail so that we can answer that message of my grandmother, Budi nam dobra Amerika, to say, and now, we in our turn, America's been good to us, and we are being good to America. Thank you all for being here today.
I think often of this building in the context of my own family story, because like so many of our ancestors, my grandmother came to this country after having taken a steamship across the ocean, having fled a war-torn Ireland, came here to St. Paul to be safe. She had an uncle that was in the seminary in the city of St. Paul, having been brought over by Archbishop Ireland. And this was just going to be a place where she would be here for a couple of years until the troubles quieted down. When she arrived in the city of St. Paul, this facility was under construction. The grandeur that we see here today was not fully realized and recognized at that time. But in that context, I think about all of those folks whose first vision of the city of St. Paul was this beautiful building that we see here today. And I think of all the future generations who will once again have the opportunity to step foot into the city of St. Paul first here at Union Depot, to see this magnificent building, to see this historic place, and to understand that this is a community that believes in itself, that understands its past, that has a vision for its future, and knows that we have to continually invest, continually make improvements, continually turn to our city and say, how do we make it better? This is a gigantic step forward in making our city better. This building joins the cathedral, the Capitol, and so many other magnificent buildings in the city of St. Paul to showcase to the rest of the world that this is a city that knows its history but also has a vision for its future. Folks, I want all of you here today to maybe put a card together. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. But in the coming years, we're going to have a frequent groundbreaker opener card. We're going to have a frequent ribbon cutting attendee, and at the end of that, after we get done today's work, opening the light rail line in just a little bit, groundbreaking on the regional ballpark, and then opening that up for our first pitch in 2015. Soon opening up the Penfield project and being able to buy your first bag of groceries at the Lund's grocery store in downtown St. Paul. This is a remarkable time in the future and the history of the city of St. Paul. This is a remarkable time in our community. It wouldn't happen but for everyone on this stage, everyone in this audience, and everyone who believes that the best days of St. Paul, that the best days of the Twin Cities, that the best days of Minnesota are ahead of us. Today, we take that gigantic step into the future by remembering our past, and I want to congratulate all of you that played such a critical role in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.